tell us who you are.
I'm Debbie Nance.
Some of you may know her on social media.
How long have I been
No,
on?
I said some people here may know you on
Yes,
social
yes.
media.
I'm a avid Twitter fan and also on Facebook
You're on
every day.
Periscope?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's hear the story. Let's hear what happened to your son.
My son was born March of 1992. He weighed 7'8". APGAR scores were perfect. Milestone achievements were perfect. Everything was good. He was a happy baby. I took him in for his 1-year shots. I actually went to the health department to get him. And I don't even know why we call it informed consent. It was just fever and pain and swelling at injection site. So anyway, that evening, he was given the DTP and the HIB. And that evening, he was screaming like
How old is he at this point?
He was a year old.
1 whole year.
Yeah. And that night he was screaming like people that describe that screaming, you can't describe it to somebody that's never witnessed it. There's nothing you can do to console them. He was stiff as a board and throwing his head back. He was just, you could not console him. So that was on a Friday. And on Monday, I had to go to work. And my sister was taking care of him at the time. And I came home and she said, Deb, something is wrong with him. I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, I can't, he won't let me hold him. He was not focusing on anything. I mean, it was like a light switch. And the change in his personality, I mean, everything about him was different. He would stare at moving objects I don't know if he was seizing, I don't know. He did not sleep all night for 3 years. While I was trying to work full time, he was up 7 and 8 times a night. It was the same thing. It was ear infection after ear infection and allergies. He tested allergic to 28 out of 33 things. Explosive diarrhea. I mean, the whole thing. And today let me back up. The bad thing is I did not make that connection until fast forward several years when I started looking at dates of when he got that vaccine or those vaccines and when he started daycare. And then I started taking pictures of him when he started daycare. It was like the red rings, red ears. I mean, he was such a sick baby. Today he is 24. And one thing I wanted to say, I know I'm jumping all around, I'm kind of nervous. Had I had informed consent, I would have known that he had a reaction. But because I didn't, I kept vaccinating him. And he kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. I mean, I don't carry any guilt anymore, but it's gut-wrenching to think. But something that's so interesting, the day that he got his 1-year shots, I'm a Christian, and my intuition, Polly, was screaming at me. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was holding him on my lap, and God gives you that intuition. He's saying stop, pause, but because of what we have all been led to believe, I thought I was doing what was best for him, and I didn't do it, but his whole life has been drastically altered because of it. Now I get to tell him at 24 years old, him asking me repeatedly, Mom, why can't I drive? Am I ever going to be able to drive? And the truth is he can't. He has so many problems with his eyes, with depth perception. He had surgery done at Duke. His eyes are not symmetrical. I mean, this kid has been through hell. For what? I mean, I was born in 61. You know, I had measles, I had mumps, I had rubella. I had all three of those things, and most people I know did. I mean, we don't live in a third world country. It's criminal what we are doing to these kids. We just keep adding more and more and more vaccines. None of it's tested synergistically. How do we even know what it's doing to them? I mean, I would never, ever tell somebody, don't vaccinate your kids. I would never do that, because I don't want anybody telling me to vaccinate my kids. But the truth is, I spend 8 to 10 hours a day, every single day, trying to educate people, because I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It's even Dorrit Rice. I wouldn't wish this on her child. But she's doing everything she can to mandate it for everybody. So I'm ready for the fight. Bring it on. It's not happening, and nobody will put another shot in my child. Oh, and to top it off, my son's first diagnosis was PDD, which, you know, pervasive developmental disorder, which falls under the autism umbrella. It was that and ADHD. And then fast forward a couple of years, and we had moved to Ohio, and I took him to a neurologist, and we did an MRI, and that's when he got his formal autism diagnosis. And I immediately tried to start doing things that I knew that would possibly help him. But around that same time, my 11-year-old daughter started exhibiting signs of just like she had the flu or something. I was working part-time. I called the school. I said, is anybody, you know, are other kids sick? Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going around. It was in November of 99. I took her to the doctor the next day because I came home and she had 3 or 4 dog leashes hooked together to take our dog outside because she was too weak to stand up. So I took her to the doctor, and that night we found out that she had cancer. She had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And you know, there are studies now that there may be a connection. There's no lymphoma anywhere in my family. I don't know. So I mean, that in itself really hindered my ability to help my son. I mean, she went through 15 months of chemo, and I almost lost her 3 times because of the drugs, not the cancer. So I'm just telling people, you know, everybody loves their kids. We all love our children, and we want what's best for them. But until they can figure out what makes some kids susceptible to injury, it's roulette. You just don't know. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, look, go on YouTube, although now you have to show proof that you're 18 to be able to watch it. The Brady Bunch measles thing. Not kidding.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah. You can watch ISIS cutting people's heads off, but you can't watch
things on YouTube.
Yeah.
Require adult verification.
So Brady Bunch is now adults for the measles part.
Yeah. It says that you have to sign in and, you know, show that you're 18.
Wow.
That's how thick the propaganda is.
Really? That is ridiculous.
I mean, it's propaganda. It's fear propaganda. And when they give you statistics on diseases, people look at where they're getting the statistics. They're lumping in first world countries. I mean, we have, oh my God, I can't even go there.
Well, no, the main thing is you told your story, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, I just hope that my son will continue to improve. We went on vacation last week, and just because of eating too much processed food, now we've got diarrhea and gastrointestinal issues again at 24 years old.
It's ongoing.
It is.
And what number is he on the bus?
He is 2110, I think.
You signed it yesterday then?
No, you signed it for me. Thank goodness.
I signed it again.
Oh, you did?
No, I didn't sign it again. I mean, it
No.
wasn't made it,
Yeah, you had asked on Facebook and oh, here, wait a minute, that's not it.
Oh my gosh, quite a few people outside. So
2021.
2021.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
YouTube. Oh my God, it's not on my brain. I need coffee.
I don't even know
What
how.
time is it? What even time
It's
is it?
5:20.
Okay, I need some coffee. Guys, we're back in a minute.